quick guide on how to strip one of these Kona frames. In particular, we're going to be dealing with this main through axle, just right here, the main pivot through axle. First thing to do, get some newspaper, chuck it on the floor, a decent sized container, black bag inside the container, and then some more paper inside the bag. Take your frame, turn it around slightly. We want to get into this bolt. We're not going to take this bolt all the way out, but we are going to slacken it off a bit so that we can get into it with a penetrating solution. We take it out to about there. What will happen is the penetrating solution will just follow this down into it. You want to get in here and give it a good blast with your penetrating solution. You want to slacken this off as much as possible, make it just easy, or as easy as it can be. If you do that, it should just seep down into there. Get into all these bits as well, as much as you can. Try and keep it over the container so that it's not going everywhere. Now, if I turn it up like that, normally you would want to do this and leave it overnight. If you're having a lot of bother with it, just get some tissue, spray the tissue with the WD-40 and sellotape it over that area so that it seeps into it, and it's not just dripping all over the place. Now, normally you'd leave it, like I said, for 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, let it seep in, but I'm fairly confident I can get this out of there. Now, because I'm going to be working with it, what I'm going to do is wipe off all the excess penetrating solution, get rid of it. Before I do anything else, I'm going to remove this bolt. I'm just going to take these little spacers out of here to stop them from falling on the floor or getting lost. When you're working with these bolts and all the other smaller pieces like spacers and stuff that will come with the frame, you want to put them into a container or some kind of sealable plastic bag, sealable plastic box, whatever you can get your hands on, just to keep them out of the way. You know, don't just leave them lying about. If you drop something, probably better to find it as soon as you drop it and put it somewhere safe. Now, take my frame and I'm going to deal with this main through axle. What I'll be using for this is this spacer for a steerer tube, if you've got one of them lying about. If not, use a socket set. I use these alloy sleeve tools. This is the bolt for the upper shock mounting. Yeah, what we're going to do with that is we're basically going to thread it into here. As far as we can. The more threads that you connect, the less pressure is being applied to each individual thread. It's less likely that you'll damage it if you thread it in as far as possible. You want to have some length left. Now, you're also going to have to know where you want this to sit, but you won't be able to see the end of the axle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into the place I want it. I'm going to position it there. I'm going to draw around it with this pencil so that I know where I want it to go. If you look closely, you can see it sits right around this edge. See it? It's right around there. If I can't see that side, I'll have to go by the pencil line. If I take it and I put it on there like that, and I wind the vise back out, I just simply slot that onto there. I've got it in place. The axle's just right inside there. I'm going to use this and the spacer just to push it through. You may have to apply a good amount of pressure if you're really struggling with it. I would take it back off and make sure that's aligned, you know, positioned where it should be. If you look at the alignment on this, you can see it's nice and straight right through there. And you just push it through as far as you can. If you've got a couple of these spacers, then it's a good idea to use both of them. However, once you get that to move a decent amount. You can normally wind this back out a bit. And give it a few taps with a hammer. You see it's coming straight out there. Wind out as far as you can. Now what I'm going to do at this point is wind it all the way out and then back in a few times. Take this out of the way now. I should be able to just shake this about and get it to come out. Once I remove this, what I'll find is these two bushes. So get them out of the way. Put them there as well. You can push these straight through there. There's no kind of lip in here. It's just tubular all the way through. I can use this to get these bearings out of there, but it's very tricky. It's tricky to line it up. So what I'm going to do is use the pencil again. Unless I can. Yeah, you can see that it fits right around there where the bush is sat. If you just go straight on top of where the bush one sat, that's probably the best way to do it. At this point, you want to go back over to your container and you want to blast it with WD-40 and get it into there as much as possible. I'm not going to bother with that because I'm fairly confident these will just come straight out of there. You're going to need some kind of drift to get these bearings, the main pivot bearings, out of there. However, you've got this. It's the perfect size for it. As long as your vise opens up enough, you should be able to use this and your spacer again. Make sure it's aligned and just push it through. Now this isn't sitting quite right there. You can see there's a lip. You can see where the bush has been sitting, so it should be sitting slightly further up. Make sure it's aligned properly. The way you can tell it isn't sitting properly is because it moved a little bit, nice and easy, and then it just bound. But once you realign it, it comes out of there pretty easily. You won't be able to get all the bearings and spacers out in the one go. What you'll have to do is take a couple out, slacken it off. There's your spacers from the centre. It's two bearings, then your spacers, then another two bearings. We want to push the last two bearings straight through just now. And that's how you deal with getting the main pivot bearings out. Just use this as your drift and make sure that that's aligned properly. If you've not got this mark from the bush, just put another mark with your pencil so you know exactly how it's coming out. You can see that these spacers I've had made up, these sleeve tools, are a lot better fit. It's not as tricky, but you can use this. A little bit of faffing about, you'll get it done. So you get the main pivot, axle and bearings out.